I was just drinking my brew, then I think there was something in it. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Listen, everybody worries about getting started, right? You know, when you've got that big opportunity staring in front of you, it's natural to get some people get anxiety over taking the opportunity. You know, there's worries there. It's natural. So everybody worries about getting started, right? But living with no regrets means following your dreams and passions, right? It's scary taking that opportunity, but you do have to have this no regret approach to it, right? That is living a life worth living. It's living with no regrets, right? It means following your dreams and passions, even when you do that and it takes you down a path that you didn't expect, even if it doesn't work out, right? Because if you just look at any opportunity that you've took in the past, right? One that you was a little bit worried about. It's natural to be worried, right? Think about that opportunity that you took and it didn't work out, right? Maybe it didn't quite work out as you imagined. And yeah, when you take a chance like that and it doesn't work out, it feels like shit, doesn't it? In the moment, it's like, oh fuck, you know. You think, why did I do that? And maybe you invested some money or something, or maybe it was like investing in time in someone that then stabbed you in the back. And it feels like shit in the moment when it doesn't work out, right? But in the long run, over time, you're always thankful for having taken that opportunity. Even if it was one that failed, you're always thankful in the long run for having taken it, right? Because there's nothing worse. I always think that there's nothing worse than an opportunity missed. An opportunity that you knew you could have took and you didn't, and it leads to a bit of regret. I think there's nothing worse. I think that feels like shit. Certainly in my own experiences, you know, even that every opportunity that you pass up, I don't know, it really fucking affects you. Even if you take a chance on something, it doesn't work out, and you fail miserably, right? Well, whatever, right? You still feel good for doing it a lot of the time. And even if it feels crap in the moment, down the line, you just think, would you ever, like an opportunity that's failed, would you ever change it? Would you ever go back and say, I wish I didn't do that? Yeah, if you did. The only time you say, I wish I wouldn't do it, I wish I didn't do that, was when you know what you did was wrong. But if you honestly committed to an opportunity, giving it some thought and giving it everything you could, your best effort, and it didn't work out, you'll never say, I wish I didn't do that. You'll always be thankful that you took the opportunity even when it didn't work out. Got a few comments coming in. Happy Pride Month, right? Okay, I don't know what that means. Say hi. I can't read that one. There's a bit of sun on it. Have a good day. Yeah. Oh, of course, yeah. You have a good day. Good day too. So yeah, I mean, I always think back to opportunities missed. I remember when I was, I missed a really good career opportunity. once, and it was totally my fault because I was procrastinating over it. A good few years ago, many years ago, the start of my career, I've always had really good skills. Apologies for that noise, by the way. There's a drain here. It's washing machine kicking out some water. But anyway, yeah, I've always had really good skills in whatever I did. Been able to develop some good skills, and I got this really good opportunity in my career at the time. Before I had a business, when I was working my way up and building my skill set. And it was a fabulous opportunity working for, like for an airport group, a big company that owned a lot of airports, and it was running product development. So any new products that come into the airport that were used, I was going to be in charge of that kind of product development stuff. And it was a big career move for me at the time. And I was shit scared of going for it for some reason, and I just procrastinated. And to the point, they were fucking begging me to go, and they kept increasing the offer and offering me money and all this, that, and the other. And I strung it out that long because I was paralysed by making the decision, and it I just procrastinated it out. And anyway, I never ended up going for it. I never went for that one, and I always regret that, because that one was a moment in my career. I said to myself, from that moment on, I will never ever pass up another opportunity, right? So I never did after that. However, fast forward a few years, another job opportunity came up. So I ended up staying in my job, right, which I loved, but I just wanted to do something different. Fast forward a few years, another similar opportunity came up. I didn't even flinch, straight for it, right? Because I committed to myself. I had that much regret, and you might think that's nothing. It means absolutely nothing to me today. It means fuck all. I've got business now. I'm not bothered. But at the time, I was really invested in my career because it was just where all my focus was at the time. I had this kind of like need inside to prove myself to, I grew up with nothing. And when you grow up with nothing and everyone around you's got nothing, you feel this kind of need to prove that you're useful. So getting that job would have meant status, right? And I was only young, so I was obsessed with that, having the right job role or career and job title stuff, which is bollocks, but that's where I was at the time. So it really gave me a lot of regret, really affected me. And then, like I say, fast forward a few years, another one came up, and I didn't even question it. I just went for it straight away. However, that one on paper looked good, good career move, but it turned out to be absolutely shocking. And within 2 weeks of being in this new job, I realised it was a bad move, right? But I was still okay with it, because I was like, well, I had to make the opportunity because it looked good on paper. So I was pleased with myself for taking the opportunity. As it happened, after about 2 weeks, my old boss rang me up to see how I was getting on, and I said, to be honest, it's rubbish. And he went, well, come back then. I went, yeah, go on. So I ended up going back, but and the good thing is they gave me a pay rise for going back, which were decent. But I never regretted going for it, because I said to myself, I've gone for it. And then from that moment, I just took every opportunity. And yeah, there is another opportunity that I really, really regret. And I've kind of been trying to make up for it in recent years. So when I went to school, and then I did my A levels. So in the UK we do A levels like college, and then after that you go to university. and I was going to university, but I took I didn't go straight from college to university. I took a few years out because I went to work for my uncle's company. So I went doing, I ended up as a site foreman installing industrial extraction systems. And I learned to, like, you know, sheet metal work, welding, a lot of engineering, using cranes, all the, you know, lifting equipment. Very, like, you know, heavy engineering. Not that heavy, but, you know, it was engineering. And it was quite a practical job, and I learnt many skills, particularly using tools and all sorts of, like, mechanical engineering techniques and welding and all this stuff. And it was great. And then after that, after I'd done that for a few years, I went to university. So I was going to university slightly later, kind of mid 20s rather than like 18, you know. And I was on my final, no, I was about to start my final year. And in the summer, you get a summer job. And I got this shit summer job. It was quite easy, to be honest. It was working at a milk plant, making, bottling up milk, you know. And then also milkshakes and different drinks. And I was, what could I say? Oh yeah, there was a lad there, right? So there was a lad working there that I met, and he was a proper nomad, right? He'd go traveling, right, wherever, and for like as long as he could. Let's say he did like 8 months or 10 months, 12 months if he could get that far. And then when he ran out of money, he used to come home, get a shit job, work, stay at his parents, save as much money as he could, right? And then once he had enough money again, he'd just fuck off. And he said to me at the time, he went, "Oh yeah, I'm going to Thailand. Just gonna go out there for like as long as I can, and then probably move on, you know, and move further into Asia and different places or wherever he's going. I can't remember. So I just land, you know, stretch my money, see how long I can last." And he said to me, he went, "Why don't you come with me?" I said, "Oh, I can't. September, you know, was a new semester, and it was for my final year at university. And like I say, I was, you know, I was taking my career really seriously at the time, and getting that degree was so important to me, you know, to finish it. And obviously, I put all that time in, so of course it was important." But he said to me, he went, "Well, just take a year out. You can take a year out, and you can, you know, you can just take a year out." But I was a little bit worried at the time that he said, "Take a year out and come with me traveling." I really fancied it. I really fancied it. You know what I mean? Doing what he was doing. It sounded like a right adventure. And but I didn't do it. And he was saying, "Oh, just take a year out." And I thought, if I took a year out, I'll be out of practice, I'll go back, I'll be all over the fucking place, I'll probably get a worse result, which is probably true. But when I think about it today, I missed, that was another opportunity that I missed. Because there's so much about my new beliefs of today that would have done things differently. I mean, for the last 3 years, I've tried to make up for it by just traveling all the time and doing loads of travel. But I wish I'd have gone then. And that's another little regret, because what happened where I finished university and then I felt momentum, you know, I just had all this momentum for career. I've said in other videos before that a switch went off in my head about 12 years old. I was just like, you know, I was there at home with my brothers and my dad, and we had nothing, you know what I mean? Fuck all. And I just thought, I'm going to have to dig myself out of this life. And I just went on one, like, I'm going to get myself through college, through university, get a career, And this is where I was in my mindset. But when I think back, think where I am now, I'm like, what did I do after I finished university? I got a job, right? And then after that, I got another job, and I kept working my way up straight away. So I didn't really have a break. And I got a house really quick, and that was where I was because everyone was doing it. And if I look at my mindset today, would I have bought that house? Would I have saddled myself in that job? Would I have stayed in the same city? No, none of them things. And I don't know if that's a regret, right? Because it's not a regret as such, because you have to accept past decisions based on, because that was where your mindset was at the time, right? And you can only think about, at that moment, that stuff was important to me. And also, there were none of this kind of like Ryanair and cheap travel and all the rest of it like there is today. But if I was to go back, I don't know how old you are who's watching, but if you're younger, like if you're in like your early 20s, I would think twice on following the herd in terms of getting that fucking job, getting the car on finance, getting the mortgage and all them things. I would really think twice on that. You don't need any of those things that are going to constrain you, or they're almost like they're a constraint. A house and a car on finance can be a ball and chain when you're trying to figure out who you are and where your future lies. I think all them things are great. I mean, I'm thankful I've got a house now, because it's a great base. Even when I travel, I'll always keep this place because it's cheap. I've got a small mortgage, so I kind of got over that because I'd put that work in. I know some other people that are, in my friend group that have got massive mortgages because they bought houses late. So I've kind of got that. That is one of the benefits. But then again, I've got a friend that I don't think he's actually lived anywhere permanently for about 7 or 8 years. It's just a permanent nomad, just travels every single day, forever. And I think I would do that if I was to start again. I don't think you need a house. I'm not saying that's the right position. But I don't like the idea of having anything that is a ball and chain. I think at some point all them things are good, getting a house, settling down, raising a family. I'm a traditionalist, so it's a natural thing to follow. But a lot of us kind of walk into it blindly, without becoming conscious on what it really means. And that can lead to a little bit of regret. However, I don't think there is any worse regret than passing up an opportunity. Like even the simple ones, like I'll tell you what can make you feel bad, and it chips away at your confidence. This is one. If ever you get in a situation, like when you meet someone like of the opposite sex that you quite like, find attractive, and it's just out of the blue, it's just caught you by surprise, like maybe you're just out and about, and you have a little interaction with them, and there's that moment there, and it's like you can feel it, and you do fuck all about it. And then when you walk away later on, you're like, oh, fuck, I wish I'd have done something. She were lovely, or if you're a girl, he were great, or whatever. And it's like, you do fuck all about it. And then, what the hell's that? Oh, nothing. You know what I mean? And then later on, you're like, and it hits at you, it chips away at your confidence. I don't know if that's regret. It's similar. But, yeah. It's like taking risks. I was reading about taking risks, and the people that tend to be successful are the ones that don't give up. I've said this before. You know, the regret of not taking an opportunity. So if you're thinking about, like, you know, starting a business or whatever, and it's super risky, and you think, fucking hell. But if you don't do it, you're going to regret it, right? But if you do it, I think you're better to go all in if you can. And don't think about having insurance policies or outs. Now, you do want insurance to minimise the risk, but the way you minimise the risk is a good solid plan, well executed, right? Well, if you're going to start a business or, you know, big project or something, it's a big risk. You don't want it easy so you can back out of it. You want to be committed, deliberately put yourself in that stressful situation, right? And your insurance should not be, I can get my job back. You want to, don't burn the bridges with a job ever, because the person that you used to work for might end up becoming a client. That's how it's happened with me loads of times. The people that I've worked for have ended up clients, so don't burn your bridges. But you don't want an easy out so you can go back to your job. Your insurance should not be that. Your insurance should be, you have meticulously planned this out so that the worst case is something that you can bear, right? And I've done this a couple of times now. First, when I started my tech business. So the way I overcommitted there was, what do you call it? Sunk cost fallacy, right? But it wasn't sunk cost because I was building something momentous, something big. It felt like sunk cost fallacy at one point. I'll explain it. I built up some money and I committed every single penny of it and every single moment of my time to this business. And the sunk cost fallacy come about 2 years. No, I'd had the business a few years. It's 12 years old, but about 3 years into it, I started developing the software product. So the first few years were consulting in the tech world, building money up to build the product. So that's what we did. You know, I got a team, we built some money up, and then I spent that money on developing the software. And 2 years into doing it, it felt like sunk cost. It was like, fucking hell, why did I do this? I was definitely 2 feet in at the time. I'd committed everything, all my time, built this off. I had to make it work. I'd just put far too much time and money into it. And it felt like sunk cost, a lot of sunk costs. And it's like, I can't back out. But in reality, all I'd done there is there was no going back. So I'd almost like burnt the boats on going back to the old consulting world, because I had to make the software work. And I just ground it out for years, right? So, you know, it was a well executed plan, but at the time, you always underestimate how long things will take. That's quite normal. I'll read your comment in a minute, sorry. You always underestimate how long things take. So I just ground it out. So what looked like sunk cost fallacy ended up taking a bit longer. And if I look back now, would I have changed anything? No, would I fuck? I'd have still done the same thing, because that's where my mindset was. If I had today's knowledge, I'd have done things slightly differently, of course, but you know, you can't think about what you did in the past. And then just recently with the e-commerce business, I suppose I do have an easy out with that. I can jack it in any time, but I have invested a lot of money into it. Now I've got the cushion of the tech business, right? So this new e-commerce bit, I don't need any kind of like payment out of it right now. I don't need any profit or wages or anything because I got my tech business paying for everything. So I've got that as a cushion, which obviously makes it a lot easier, but it's actually trending in the right direction. But again, I just fucking committed lots of money to it straight away with faith that I'll make it work come what may. So it's kind of like 2 feet in, but not quite as severe as the first time. And it shouldn't be, because I'm leveraging success like I always talk about, you know, build on your successes. It shouldn't be as hard, right? What's this comment? Oh yeah, had a tough week. Oh no, found out my wife been cheating, right, and sleeping with my brother. Fuck, is this serious or are you just messing about? They've moved in together and taken our 2 kids. Life sucks. Is that serious? Right, that's pretty bad. Okay. Not a lot. Well, that's quite a bad situation if it is the case. I feel sorry for you, really, to be honest. What can you do in that scenario? Right, wife's cheated on you. What kind of with your brother? What kind of a brother is that? Right, what can you do in that scenario? Well, I don't want to make it negative. What I would say, right, certainly don't reach out. Just accept it, of course. It is true, right? Okay, so accept it. Don't reach out. Obviously, you might have to put on a brave face and act like a bit of a 2D alpha for a bit. You know, like just acting tough. Yeah, that betrayal feels like shit, to be honest. I get it. And it's going to take some time, but right, it's going to take some time. You need to accept it or whatever. I don't think your wife can just take kids, because obviously you're father. You can right on. This is what one thing on the kids. Right, this is what I'd always advise people to do on the kids. So if you're going to right. Whatever's happened here, right, there's obviously something been going on for a long time, and there's probably little signs, and maybe you'll see that down the line, but it's going to take some time for you. It'll all become clearer in, say, 12 months, 2 years. It might take many years, right, but it will become clearer, and you'll start to notice, oh, that moment, this little red flag, and it'll all come clear about why it happened, right, and maybe you've got a role to play in it, because sometimes it's like, well, were we the best person we could have been? I mean, this has happened to me, right? So, no, not that scenario, but I mean, you know, were I the best person at the time, right? No, I can look back now and say I was not the best person at that time, and I fucking deserved it, right? Because I just take too many risks, and you know, anyway, about you, right? Maybe you'll see this in time. On the kids, what I would say, and I've said this to everyone else that I know, you almost need to be ready for this scenario, for that breakup. And in your head, default 50-50 on the kids. I don't know where you live. Do you live in the UK? If you live in the UK, this is very important. Default 50-50 on the kids from day one. Don't think that your wife can take the kids and then you can get 50-50 back later down the line in like 10 months or something. You need to do it now. Day one, 50-50. You have them a week, I'll have them a week. That's what you need to do. Fucking day one. And I always tell that. I told it to my cousin. I had a good chat with him. Only because like his relationship's going well, but I just can sense one or two things that might... I could sense that if that broke down in the future, that would be hard work for him. And I said, just prepare yourself now, ahead of time. If anything ever happens, you just go, yep, okay, fine, 50-50 on kids. Very quickly, you'll see things swinging back in your favour. with that, because you getting 50-50 on the kids is a lot of, I'm just trying to protect you here, a lot of control for you, access to your kids, and what it does in the UK, in terms of, you know, like payments and stuff, it fucking equalises it, because, you know, you've got 50% of the time with the kids. So, but if you're married, then obviously there's a legal settlement there financially. But if you take 50% of the kids, that will dramatically reduce that cost. So you need to be ready day one, 50-50, right? And if you say, oh, I can't, I've got to work and all that stuff, you've got to make it work with your family or whatever, you know, someone looking after them till you get home from work. So I would always do that. Step up, be the father that it is, you know, as much time with those kids as possible. Don't be the like weekend dad that every other weekend sees the kids. I don't believe in that. I think you should be right there. That's what I would say. And you might find that, right, maybe you're feeling pain, maybe you're thinking maybe I should get her back at this moment, or you might, it's natural if you know, you don't want the family to fall apart. No fucking guy, this is like with me, right? It's your project. No guy ever wants that relationship to fall apart. When a guy creates a family, they don't, unless you don't care, most guys want that together, right? So what, yeah, it's okay. So what I would say is, if you are feeling bad and maybe you're like, fuck, I wish, how could I fix this situation? How can you get it back? I think in this scenario, if it is true, the best outcome is not to pull that back together. Because if you did, this is going to tear you apart in the future. If it was a breakup with someone, just some, there's always some dude in the background, and it's never the dude's fault, right? There's a reason why you two haven't worked out, whatever it is. Like I say, it'll come clear in time. And a lot of people can't be alone, you know what I mean? It's not their fault. It's just like when people know there's a breakup, they line someone else up. They call it monkey branching, and we think it's evil, but realistically people are just trying to find their own way to get past the pain, and that helps to mask it. So a lot of people jump from one person to another, and you might think it is evil. It is on the face of it, but usually it's not, you know, that doesn't last, right? Because it's just like a rebound. It's to help mask the pain. So there are situations where in that scenario you could potentially repair things, but it ain't going to be now. But I think in this situation with your brother, I think it's best that you don't. I honestly do, because it's just going to fucking eat you up if that ever come back. Unless there was some absolute momentous attitude, like almost like a fucking personality transplant on her part, you know what I mean? A full fucking new brain. I you know, I don't see how much of a U-turn you can out of that one. You know, there's a lot happened there. So I think it's best that, what I would advise you to do, I know it's painful, go and get 50-50 on them kids right now. If it's just happened, when do you say it was? Oh, a tough week this week. Yeah, just get 50-50 straight away. You're in the prime position. Do it right now. Don't fuck about. Straight away, you're entitled to access 50%, especially if you're in the UK. And then that'll lower your, it'll make sure that you start as you mean to go on. You should always have that backup plan in your head, just in case, even if your relationship's going well. Day one, like, if anything goes wrong, right, fine. And the best scenario, sometimes you get blindsided like you did. You get blindsided, you're like, what the fuck? It'll never happen to you again, because you'll be able to spot the signs and you'll be ready. And your mindset will be straight away. If you ever got into another situation like this again, straight away from day one, you would see it, and your attitude will be, right, yeah, fine, no problem, don't argue with it. There's the door, 50-50 on the kids, done. And you might find that person be like, whoa, fucking hell, not expecting that. And they might come, you'll flip the script a bit. But in this scenario, it's already done. So what I would argue, because it's only a week, just get 50-50 on the kids and just focus on, because here's a good thing now, right? I know it doesn't sound good. You, from this moment, can start making different decisions for your own life. I know it's hard, but it takes time. But quite often these like traumatic breakups like that are the start of a whole new you. And I know this because it happened to me. Right? Look at me now, I'm a beast. No, seriously, right? It takes years, but it's like the start. It could be. You can go either way. You know what I mean? If you turn to going to the pub, getting drunk, all that kind of thing, it could quickly go, downhill. Comfort eating. I would urge you right now, tighten up on your diet straight away. Right? Go and have a look on my website. Go to, there's probably a link in here, diet plans and recipes, and just fucking do that. Right? And you will get in fantastic shape. And then the women you'll get in the future will be like, 4 or 5 times better than, I don't know, obviously you love your wife, I know that. But I'll tell you now, it works. Get yourself in great shape. And also you want a good diet because you want to be thinking straight. The other thing you'll probably notice at this point is you'll start losing a shit ton of weight because all that, you'll probably not sleep right, all that stress, weight will just drop off. If, I don't know, if you're lean or whatever already, but if you're not, there is a side benefit to losing a lot of weight very quickly. But yeah, don't forget, get the kids. Oh, subtitles. Sorry, I've got this. Why am I apologising? I don't need to apologise. My accent is North Manchester. It's kind of Lancastrian. So I don't know where you're from. But yeah, we talk a bit strange here. I'll try and talk a bit more clearly, like the Queen's English, or the King's English now. But unfortunately, this is how I talk. I don't know where you're from. Where you're from? No limits. You should have no limits. You should be able to understand everyone and every language if you've got no limits. Yeah. Anyway, wish you the best of luck with that breakup scenario. If you want to a bit more, just email me. My email's down in the description. I'll help you out a bit more. But yeah, start focusing on your diet. 50-50 access to the kids. And just start thinking about your new future, as hard as it is. Look at the life harmony model that I created with the journal, Actually, it's on my website. Go to coaching, you'll see it there, and just start looking at those areas and where you're kind of weak, and start a self-improvement journey. Breakups make great men, actually. I'm a big believer in that. Yeah, I think they do. You can certainly get your health right on point. Start educating yourself. I think it's worth educating yourself on this stuff. If you've been blindsided, there's probably a few good books. When you're in this position where you're feeling pain, a really good book I would suggest would be, is she called Susan Sarandon? I can't remember. It's called I've got it in there. It's think it's something like The Path to Healing, and it's a great book because it breaks it all down really well. It's not on my reading list, but later on my website on the reading list, it's not on there, but I will add it just so if you check in about 3 or 4 hours, I'll add it on in a bit. Susan Sarandon or Susan Anderson or something like this, and it's The Path to Healing. It's a great book. Other books, obviously, Read Attached, by May Levine and Rachel Heller, and possibly Getting the Love That You Want. I've done a few videos on that. You might find some clarity, truths out of that. I did a video on, it's called Integrate Your Shadow or You'll End Up Dating It. That's a good video, and then maybe after that there's a follow-up to it about the same book when I was at home. So I did that one when I was out in Italy, and then I did a follow-up to it, and it's got the picture of the book on, but they're in my relationships playlist. Like I say, if you want any more, I'm not a dating coach, by the way, but I have, I actually help my friends who are dating coaches, but more on the mindset stuff, the guys I know, they do like pickup coaching, like they're out in Mexico City and they do like pickup coaching and dating coaching and all that. But there's a difference between like dating, attraction, early stage stuff, and actual long-term relationships. There's a whole different mindset. You know what I mean? The skills are different. So yeah, I help them with a bit of mindset. So if you want any advice on that, I'll just feel free to email me. Yeah. Speaking of living without regrets, don't have regrets on that, by the way. It's an experience in life. In time, things like that bring great clarity, even if it takes 3 or 4 years to really get to that clear point. Because I do believe when something like that happens, it's not going to get fixed overnight. It's that level of betrayal hurts for a very long time. But after time, whether that's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, great clarity comes, and especially if you've taken the path to understand where you went wrong, address all your issues and improve yourself, and maybe improve your diet and things like this, and your education and whatever's going on with your career. You make moves in all them areas. After a few years, when it all becomes clear, you can look back on it with yeah, it's like great wisdom, but there's a sense of like even gratitude. It's like, you got the kids, and there's a sense of gratitude for knowing. Because here's the thing, right? At this moment, do not slip up. Always act with integrity. Hold your boundaries. Be very strong. Don't give in. Don't give in to any like crazy demands or anything. Just hold your boundaries. Act with integrity. And know, in years to come, you'll look back on that and go, I am so glad I didn't. You'll be thankful that you didn't flip out and, take matters into your own hands or do anything crazy. You'll be very thankful that you held your position with integrity. And it's like character building, and there'll be a lot of gratitude for that as well. So, whereas if you took matters into your own hands, speaking about living without regret, if you took matters into your own hands, you'll fucking regret behaving badly down the line. So, as hard as it is, be impeccable with your own character. Sounds easier said than done. No, it takes great mental strength, but you will be thankful. Sorry to hear that, but you might not think it, but in a few years you'll be on a huge version 3.0, not 2.0, 3.0, and with a lot of learning and knowledge, and hopefully no regrets about what happened if you've done everything that you could and you've improved yourself along the way. Yeah, you can build your character from now. I hope that was helpful. If you had a bit of time to think about it, it could probably come up with something better than that, but just things that come off, straight to mind. Yeah. And yeah, speaking of not living without regrets, I've got a few things I've got to do today that are quite, I can feel them in here, like I've been putting it off for a few days. Some difficult, for the new business, some difficult moves and conversations that I have to do, but I need to go and do it. I'm like, my friend is telling me that I'm avoiding getting the work done. And I'm like, I need to do it. And then I don't have any regrets, it's done. So that's certainly what I'm going to be doing today. Just on relationships thing, I have had a few scenarios like that where I had one, I did a video on dating avoidant women. I also did a video on dating anxious women too, so I've done like on both. And on dating avoidant women, there's a special way to deal with them. And yeah, I've had a scenario where I've had to just like, oh fucking hell, just get, when you get fucking tired of it, right? It just becomes draining after a bit. You'd have to watch the video, and at the end I talk about what to do, right? Because most of the time you would never push for any sort of progression, but with an avoidant you have to, and you got to take your chance with it because there isn't any other option. It's like totally different to dealing with any other person. And sometimes you just got to like throw your chips in and see what happens. And as my cousin Matt says, let the chips fall and see where they land. And that's what I've done. And quite often it doesn't work out. And you just got to look at it and go, well, fucking hell, what were I going to do? Waste another fucking 2 years waiting for this person? No, fuck that. Just let your hand down and bollocks to it and accept it. So I've had to do that. Do I regret it? Do I? Fuck no. I've saved myself loads of time. Yeah. Anyway, that was in the past. That. So yeah, there's another one. Yeah. Right. What do you think to my fancy new cup? Quite nice, isn't it? I went to been out in Vancouver, well, Canada. Went to Whistler. Got it from there. Where they do all the mountain biking. I'm into mountain biking, so I went to Whistler, and it's like my dream to go mountain biking down there. Where they were just carving out, they were just digging it all out for Crankworks 2025, if you know what that is. Big, obviously they've done the World Cup downhill from there, but they were doing Crankworks, and it was good to see them all digging it out. So yeah, got a new cup. Anyway, I think we should all go and today commit to go and live in without regret, and that means following our dreams and passions, even if taking that opportunity might not turn out well. Let's say it takes you down the wrong path, it's still worth doing, because even if it doesn't work out, what I've always found, down the line, you always feel better for having taken the opportunity, because there's nothing worse than there's nothing worse than missing out on an opportunity that you could have done something about, right? I talked earlier in this live about the opportunities that I missed, and I felt like shit, and I said to myself, I will never ever do that again. I'm never passing up that opportunity again. And then you even get mini scenarios, like I said, where let's say you meet an amazingly attractive and charismatic person that you really like, and you don't snatch the opportunity there and then, even though they're showing you the signs, and you walk away and you think, oh God, that could have been my, best relationship, and I didn't do anything about it. Mini regrets as well. They're not regret, they're more like they chip away at your confidence when that happens. You should always be social and be open to opportunities. But yeah, anyway, live without regret. Go and take your opportunities. I've done a lot of content on this, and I think that's what we should do. Don't take any crazy risks. Just plan them out, take good risks, execute on them. Go in committed, but with a solid plan. Don't have an easy out. Commit yourself to the work. Right, hope you have a good day. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe. See you all next time.